Namaste, 10th standard, 9th standard students. Today we will discuss the poem Photograph written by Shelley Tolson. So this is a poem. The poet has remembering her mother. She has written this poem and looking at the old photograph. So she just by chance she got the photograph of her mother and she remembers her and. The poet says that she has been dead for many years and all that remain is her silent photograph. So nothing has remained there, only the silent photograph. This photo doesn't speak. So that's what is emphasized in this poem. That is, photos doesn't speak. Only when we are alive, that remains in our memory. When they were talking, only that remains in our memory. But the photographs always remains silent. While when you see the photograph, you don't feel like the photograph doesn't have life. So this is what she wanted to emphasize about memories are memories. We cannot bring them back. That remains as a memory only. So here I'll read the poem first. A photograph. The cupboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she, the big girl, some 12 years or so, all three stood still to smile through their hair. At the uncle with the camera, a sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. Some 20-30 years later, she would laugh at this snapshot. See Betty and Dolly, she would say, and look how they dressed up for the beach, the sea holiday. Was her past, mine is her laughter, both wry, with the labored ease of loss. Now she is been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. Its silences. So, a photograph she found in the cupboard. The cupboard shows me how it was. So, she found a photograph. The poet finds a photograph in the cupboard. It was an old photograph. In that photograph, she finds three people. When the two girl cousins went paddling here means walking, each one holding one of my mother's hands. So there were three in the photograph. So what is the circumstance, where they have been and where this photograph is taken? See, when the two girl cousins went paddling, they went with her mother, poet's mother, and two girls were poet's cousins. So each one holding one of my mother's hands. So one is in one side, another cousin is on the other side. And the big girl, some 12 years. So big girl was 12 years old. All three stood still to smile through their hair. Through their hair means because of the breeze in the beach. The breeze in the beach, they could just see from through their hair. So the breeze had shattered their hair. So through the hair. My mother, that was before I was born. So this photograph was it was an old photograph when the poet was not yet born. And the sea, which appears to have changed less. The sea has remained the same, but the people have changed. The circumstances, the situation, the other things in our life has changed a lot. And the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. Transient feet means a temporary memory. Washed their terribly transient feet. So, when you walk near the seaside, your footsteps get washed by the waves of the sea. So, same way, here they have said, there are so many people who may go to the seaside. They may walk on the beaches, but the steps, do they remain there? No. The waves come and go, and it removes everything. It removes the steps, removes the feet which was inscribed there. So it gets removed by the waves. Same way, and as a human nature, when it was fresh, memories when it was fresh, it just hurts us. When it was fresh, we feel sometimes when if the happy moments are there, we feel happy, and if it is very sad, we feel very sad. But time removes the marks of the strain. The image is get lost in the time. So same way, what the poet is saying, the image of her mother, though it has changed, it has almost gone. Some 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. Now she is remembering, looking at the snapshot. Her mother would have said this. See Betty and Dolly. What are the names of her cousins? Betty and Dolly. She would say, and look how they dressed as for the beach. So she would say, mother would say, how they are dressed for the beach, the sea holiday. So they went to beach for the sea holiday. Was her past. Mine is her laughter, both bright. So that was her past, mother's past. But my mother's laughter is the only part. So mine is her mother. I am missing her laughter now. Both dry with a labored ease of loss. How she died? She died because of a labor pain. She died when she was born. Now she has been dead nearly as many years. So her mother is dead, and as that girl lived, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. It silences. So after when she had a labor pain, when she was delivering the baby to the poet, her mother died. Mother died, but the baby remained. So she is missing her mother. It is only silence now. Mother cannot speak from the photograph. It is silence. So silence silences. That silence of her mother has silenced the poet. She is speechless now. She has only memories. She can only think of her mother through this photograph, this silent photograph, which doesn't speak, which doesn't laugh. She can only see her laughter in the photograph. That's it. So this is about the poem, very short poem, and main theme is here about the silences means only the memory. The photograph doesn't speak, so they are silent. So the seeing our dear ones' photographs, we just feel sad, and while we are sad, we remain silent. So silent silences this way. So the questions and answers here. How many people are there in the photograph? So there are 3 people in the photograph. How is the poet related to the poet in the photograph? So poet is her daughter. Who was taking the snapshot? Uncle was taking the snapshot. Is the mother described in the photo alive? No, the mother described in the photo is not alive. She is dead long back. Which aspect of mother does the poet like very much? So her smile the poet likes very much. Discuss the answers for the following questions with your partner and then write down in your notebook. Why does the writer say, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all? Its silence silences. So and its circumstance means now at present. Now at present she has already lost her mother long back, and she cannot bring her mother back, and only remains is the photograph is silence, and that silence has made her silent. Does the poet notice any change in the mother after the poet was born? What do you think would have made the change in the mother's face? So, the poet doesn't see any changes in the photograph, but her laughter only has remained in her mind. What do you think would have made the change in the mother's face? Her mother's face has not changed much. The only thing is the circumstance has changed. Before she was born, she was happy, but when the poet was born to her, she died, and it was the labor pain which caused her death, and this is hurting the poet very much. That's why she is saying that change in the mother's face, the liveliness, the laughter has gone. Why are the feet described transient feet? So I have already said it. Why are the feet described as transient feet? So when you are walking on the beaches, when you walk, your footprint gets into the sand of the beach. So when the wave comes, the footprint get removed. Same way, in our memory, when it is fresh, we feel hurt. But when the time passes on, when the time goes on, the footprint gets removed, the memory gets removed. So it is a temporary memory. But here the poet reminds of her mother every time. It just remained silent in her mind. So for today this much is enough. We have almost finished all the lessons. This flight is the story of flight is not there for you. It is deleted from your syllabus. And goodbye party for Miss Pushpa is also deleted from your lesson. And two more lessons are deleted. Two more lessons are deleted, so you need not read it. I'll just tell you. I have one more poem to do, that is ethics. So I'll do in my next video, that is ethics. That is the 8th poem in your textbook. So the dream of flight is deleted, and all stories are also deleted. I have to do the poem ethics and balai, and the goat and the stars is also deleted, but I have already done to you. Balai I will do, and ethics. And here one more lesson is there, which is a little difficult. That is sorry, it is not there for you. Anyway, read the poem, and it is a very easy poem. Just a few words are there which are emphasized more, like silences and transient feet. So these words are very important for the examination point of view. So how many people are there in the photograph, and who had taken the shot of this, all these things you have to learn, and why the face has changed according to the poet, whether it has changed or not about her mother. So this is also important from the point of view of your examination. So study well, children. Read the poem, as it is not very difficult to read. Only 2 or 3 words are there which are a little bit tricky, but you can study well. Okay, take care. Namaste.